begin Chapter 1, Section 3. After you read your objectives, you can do these word problems. Problem number 1. Let's look at this table, which shows the relationship between a stress test score and the diastolic blood pressure for 8 patients. A linear regression model for this data is given below. So your first step to do is let's enter the data into your graphic calculator. So to begin, you're going to press the Stat button, which is right here, right below the Delete. So you press Stat, Edit, Enter, and here you have your columns, L1 and L2. So your L1 columns are your X values. So let's enter our X values into L1. So we have 55, 62, 58, 78, 92, 88, 75, and 80. Now we arrow to L2, and the L2 are your Y values. So let's enter the Y values. You have 70, 85, 72, 85, 96, 90, 82, and 85. So now once we enter that, you go to Stat, Calc, arrow to Calc, and you want to go to number 4, linear regression, and then you press Enter and Enter, and here is your equation, which we have the 0.56x plus 41.71. So your 0.56 is your slope, 41.71 is your y-intercept, your r squared is your coefficient of determination, and your r is your correlation coefficient. So your correlation coefficient of 0.90 is a very strong positive relationship, which means this linear model is a great model for this type of table. So for letter A, let us interpret the slope of the model. So interpreting the slope, here we have for every point, for every 1 point increase in the stress test score, in the stress test score, the diastolic blood pressure will increase by 0.56 points. So for every 1 point increase in the stress test score, the diastolic blood pressure will increase by 0.56 points. And we have our equation, 0.56x plus 41.71. And now let's look at letter B, using the model to predict the blood pressure for a person with a stress test score of 75. So your stress test score is X. So let's plug in that 75 into your X. So we have Y is equal to 0.56 times 75 plus 41.71. And doing that calculations, we have Y is equal to 83.71, which is approximately 84. Therefore, a person with a stress test score of 75 will have a diastolic blood pressure of 84. And letter C, using the model, estimate the stress test score if the diastolic blood pressure was 90. So now we are solving for X. And we are plugging our 90 into our Y, because our Y is our blood pressure. So the blood pressure of 90 is equal to 0.56x plus 41.71. And here we're going to do a little bit of algebra, which let's combine like terms. Subtracting 41.71 from both sides, we have 48.29 is equal to 0.56x. Divide both sides by 0.56. So x is 86 6.23, which is approximately equal to 86. So the blood pressure of 90 will give you a stress test score of 86. And we can see that in our calculator, looking at the graph. Go to second y equals, make sure your plot is on, and it is. So we go to zoom 9, and here is our data points. And we can arrow across, up and down, just to take a better graph, take a better look at our scatter plot. And that completes problem number 1 of 1.3.